Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am Abe with Mystic Gen Mara, and today I would like to introduce you to the Archangel Michael. So what I was thinking about doing with this series is about once a month or so I will bring forward and introduce you to one of the angels that I work with on a daily basis, and I work with pretty much 6 of them daily. So I will bring forward one of those 6 each day, or each month, starting with Archangel Michael. And how I see the angels as they're just like you or me. They're just on a separate energy frequency, a significantly higher energy frequency. So they are not as likely to be tempted, although it has happened in the past. If you go by biblical tradition and you look at the stories from the ancient Sumerians, you look at the cultures of China from Hinduism, they all have a branch of these higher frequency beings that have fallen. So that's just as a side note, I guess. But how I work with them is a little bit different than what some people do, and it's because I've had a lot of years of different trainings myself, through studies, through practices, working with other people. And so what I want to do is give you the introductions for each of these angels, and if you like what you are hearing or you want to understand more, drop it in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps my channel grow. And with that, this is just going to be an introduction with some ways to kind of connect to Archangel Michael. And if you want, like I said, if you want more and you want me to go a little bit deeper dive on some of these things, just leave a comment in the comment section and I will work on that. Like I said, I work with the 6 angels that I'll be bringing forward on a pretty much daily basis. So for me, it's like visiting with an old friend, doing things like this. So if that is, like I said, that's something that resonates, awesome. And what I was trained and I learned in a very traditional, like very ancient type knowledge. So I will tend to revert back to a traditional viewpoint on a lot of this stuff. Sometimes it's from the Bible, sometimes it's from other traditions. That's not saying what we've learned now is wrong. I'm just saying that's how I was taught, and I've been trying to find ways to integrate this stuff into a more modern perspective. And so there will be some correspondence in how to work with them that's going to be way more modern, and I will note that usually. But like I said, I learned in a very traditional old school style. So I'm not saying what's going on now is wrong, just I have a different viewpoint. So the meaning of Archangel Michael is actually he who is like God, and in the King James Version of the Bible, Daniel 12:1, if you want to check, Michael's referenced as the Great Prince. Michael is an archangel that is associated with fire, which is why I decided to do it for Aries, because we just shifted into the zodiac sign of Aries, the first one of the zodiac family, and is a fire sign. So the association with Aries is also with Mars, which is a warrior, which Archangel Michael is a warrior, although his planet is actually the sun. So colors that are traditionally associated with Michael are red and gold, as well as leather type stuff. So when he shows up for me when I'm in meditative states and I see him in a physical form, he's almost exclusively in red and gold, although there are some other variations I'll talk about later. But his energy frequency, if you just see his energy, like his aura field, you're going to see it in shades of blue. What this is, it's called a flash color. The primary color is red or gold. We'll go with red because it's actually the flash color for blue in a lot of ways. So if you look at something that's red and it's just kind of flat and red, but if you put that red onto a field of blue, it actually makes it almost move. It just enhances the color extremely well. So when you see his aura, it does tend to be more blue, but his physical coloration tends to be red. And when I say that, it's talking about his clothing, not so much him. The day of the week that's generally associated with Michael is Sunday, which is part of the association from the planet, the sun. So there's that connection. The direction associated with Michael is the south in traditional practices, mystic practices, and the element is fire, which I've discussed earlier. If you are led to working with stones and minerals and things like that, crystals, the ones that are traditionally associated with Archangel Michael are amber, citrine, and topaz. Amber is what I would call a living stone. It's actually fossilized pitch or resin from trees. And the unique thing with amber, and this is one way that I can tell for me if it's genuine or not, is amber is never cold. If you touch amber, it's almost exclusively a warm stone, which is why they call it a living stone. It's like the sun itself solidified, and that's why it is what it is. But amber is associated with Michael. Citrine is a yellow quartz, basically. And so it is aligned with him as well, because it's that fiery, it's an honest stone, it builds integrity, it's things like that. And then there's topaz, and the other, like a metal, is gold. But I have also found that working with iron, especially if you're looking for the warrior or defensive aspects of Michael, gold or iron work very well. The chakra associated with Michael, which goes to his honesty and his truth-telling, is the throat chakra. So it's a very strong communicating aspect, but he wants to communicate in an honest and clear form with you. The abilities and powers that he's better at, the angels really work with all of it, but these are his areas of expertise, so to speak, which is protection and defense. So if you were in a situation where you feel threatened, or you just have that feeling that something's wrong, you can call upon Archangel Michael. He'll be there to defend you, protect you instantly. Other things you can do with Michael is, if you have that business meeting and you're super nervous, a quick prayer: dear God, dear Source, please send me Archangel Michael. I really need some courage to be able to walk through this door and bring this presentation. Or in our more modern times, I really need the strength to unmute myself on that Zoom meeting so that I can actually speak my piece. And that's something that he's very good with. He helps build that confidence and that courage within you to do the things that are hard, but do them in a way that works best for you and for the people you're working with. Michael is also all about strength, physical strength, and when you see him in meditation, how he's always shown up to me is this big, muscly, like gym bunny type personality, but he's always strong, he's always very assertive, very gentle and kind, but he also is a warrior and a protector, so there's that. He works very well with honesty and integrity. And to understand Michael in a deeper way, my advice is to look back to the ancient Knights of the Round Table in King Arthur's time, or watch, and this is a personal movie, I just absolutely love this TV series. It is Kung Fu with David Carradine, the original 1970s version of it. When you watch what is taught in the monasteries, protection of and defense of the weak, courage, be that quiet strength always there available, strength, physical strength, as well as mental and emotional strength, honesty, they are very brutally honest, and integrity, which is doing the right thing even when no one's watching. All of that is very strongly exemplified in the old Kung Fu shows, as well as like the legends of the Knights of the Round Table. So if you are wanting to understand more of how Michael works in those departments, those are great ways to tie him into a more readily available knowledge of him. And then we work into the tools or weapons that are used associated with Michael. Obviously his fiery sword, which to me shows up in a golden form and generally has a blue flame around it, although sometimes it's a red flame. I think it depends on the situation that I'm in. I've just not paid that much attention. When I'm in that situation, I just want protection. I don't care what color the flame is on the sword. The other one is if you're in ceremonial practices like those within very strict Kabbalah type senses or the Golden Dawn, things like that, you're going to see that the fire wand is what's used, and that is significantly different than the wand that is used in the Wiccan traditions. They use a wand associated with fire as well, but the one in the ceremonial practices is very unique and very specifically made. Just random tidbit of information if you're interested. On the Kabbalah's Tree of Life, which is the Jewish mysticism, it is the Sephira of Hod, which I might be saying that wrong, and I do apologize, which is your right hip. And the choir associated with Archangel Michael in the Jewish Kabbalah type work is the Beni Elohim. So those are the traditional associations with Michael and different ways to kind of carry him with you. More modern ones, like I said, the color is blue, because I feel like his energy frequency is more what people work with now versus seeing him in a physical form. I have the opinion, and this is my opinion, I would rather meditate and get into that state and introduce them so that I can physically or mentally see them in an astral form, and then I'll work with the energy. I don't want to work with the energy first. That's just my personal opinion. If you feel more comfortable working with the energy first, go for it. Modern stones associated with Archangel Michael are lapis lazuli, which is the blue that the Egyptians used on everything, because it's that beautiful deep blue and it's all that gold fleck through it. It is one of the most intense, interesting stones. If you haven't worked with it before, I suggest it. And then sapphire, which tends to be blue as well, but sapphires can be what they call flawed and be multiple different colors. So when I work with him in a meditative state and I'm trying to get to know him a little bit better, just try to understand something, I have questions about his sphere of influence, he usually shows up with where am I at here? Sorry, I have some notes, and I'm just trying to make sure I keep up with them. He usually appears in a white or gold type tunic, with generally a red belt. He's always very masculine, very chiseled features, very intense, strong eyes. If you've ever met those people where when you look into their eyes you almost want to cower, that's the kind of eyes that he has. He's not condemning you, he's not doing anything like that. It's just he's an intense angel. He loves to be jovial, he loves humor, and he likes to be around humans. He just finds us to be fun people to be around. And the more I've worked with him, he's got a sense of humor. Sometimes he cracks jokes where you're just like, where did that come from? You're supposed to be Archangel all serious, and he's over there cracking jokes about working out in the gym or something he saw on the battlefield. It's things like that that make them help you understand that they're a lot more similar to us. They're just, like I said, they're on a higher, more purified frequency than we are. And they were created by Source to be there to guide us. They're not there to be better than us. They're here to help us. When I work with him in a more serious sense, like I need some protection, I'm going into a situation that is making me uncomfortable, that I feel might be threatening in physical, mental, or spiritual sense, when I work with him then, he shows up, and he's always a muscular guy, so when you see him, he's just huge. But he inspires confidence and strength. So you know when he shows up, you're okay. And again, it's not going to say that you're not going to have bumps and bruises along the way, because we have to learn these lessons. He can't save us from everything because it wouldn't benefit us. We have to learn, and we have to tap into our own intuitive senses, our own gut feelings, and start to work with the angels and with God Source energy so that we can become a better person type of a thing. So when he shows up like that, he's generally wearing this leather armor. It's got red accents and gold accents. The sword is out. It's flaming, like I said, blue or red generally. And he's got this aggressive stance, like he's ready to deal with any enemy. When I've been in situations where I don't have time to prepare, like I know when I go to do certain parts of my day job, I know I'm going into a rough situation, I will get connected, I will pray, and I will bring him in at that point to be with me through the day. If I'm in a situation that gets thrown on me and I don't feel safe, I don't feel comfortable, I want protection, when I sense him in basically my mind's eye, my third eye, or I hear him through my telepathic channels, generally he's on this beautiful red dragon, beautiful big red dragon, and dragons have got a really bad reputation in the West. A lot of it is just some misinformation that has been spread about them, because dragons are actually more closer aligned to us than the angels are. Angels are significantly above in energy frequency. Dragons used to pass through the third and fourth and fifth dimensions, which is where we're at right now, before they moved up. So we are actually closer aligned with them, and they're not, some of them are evil. I will totally agree with that. But a lot of them aren't. So be careful when you work with them, but don't be instantly afraid because a dragon showed up. Yeah. But when he comes in like that, he either shows up in this flaming sword and he's massive, as big as a skyscraper type thing, or he comes in on a dragon, and it's usually I can sense or see it through my third eye, not so much a physical thing. But when he does come and he just wants to hang out, like when you're just trying to understand or learn, he is very much associated with wanting to work with humans. And when you read through different parts of the Bible, you read through different legends and myths going back several hundred years, if not thousands of years, you see how the ones that I work with primarily were the first ones that I was introduced to. They all want to be with us. They want to help us. They find us fascinating because we are stumbling around trying to figure this out, and they see that we have all these skills and talents and abilities, and they're like, why aren't you using them? And so they're trying to help us as humans basically step into what we are. I mean, and I'm not saying this from a non-biblical perspective, because even in the Bible it talks about we have spiritual gifts and spiritual abilities, but that information has been so tweaked and so shamed over the years that the people who used to have these abilities to see, sense, or heal people were banished and burned at the stake and all of this other nonsense. Some of it was legit, some of those people were evil, but not all of them. And so it drove the people who have these gifts, awoke up in them from birth, into pushing them down, not talking about them, hiding them from family members. And so the angels have been watching this going, why don't you use your gifts? God gave them to you. Why aren't you using them? So the 6 that I work with, it's like their personal mission to help us wake back up. And Michael is a good one to help us understand that the gut instincts that we have, those little hairs on the back of your neck warning you, those are all things that he can help you understand and help you avoid situations, or help you process them when it's something you are going through and you're feeling like you've been abandoned. You haven't been. It's just something you have to figure out. And they're there to help and work with you. I'm not trying to be flippant on that. That's just how they are. So, Michael enjoys physical activity. If you are needing some motivation for the gym, or you're trying to find the right personal trainer, the right video if you're at home working out, or you just wake up in the morning and you just have that, I don't want to go for a run, or I don't want to go for a hike, or I don't want to go to the gym. Michael is a great angel to work with, because you're going to lay there and be like, I don't want to, and you're going to feel this little poke on your shoulder or tap on your forehead like, time to get up, well, you got things to do. They'll never push you against your will, but you can request their aid in those respects, and Michael especially is more than willing to help you get the motivation you need. So for me personally, whenever I am working with especially a new angel or spiritual energy, I want to be outside. I don't like being indoors all the time, especially in the wintertime I do, because I don't like cold. But in the summertime, I'd rather be outside to work with them. It's just more of a comfort thing for me, and I feel more connected in nature than I do sitting inside of a building. And it's been like that since I was little. So when you work with Michael, it's better if the sun is out, if you're outside, because you get that more solar energy, which is aligned with Michael. It's heating you, it's warming you, it's helping you connect to that fire aspect. So there's a lot of ways you can build this connection with him or be introduced to him. I'm going to give you a few steps here that you can use to start to build that connection and start to open yourself safely to connecting to and having the experience of the Archangel Michael. First step in all of this is to relax. You always want to be calm when you start an introduction like this. If you're nervous and super wound up, take a few deep breaths from your belly, feeling that belly expand all the way out, and then when you breathe in or breathe out, breathe that belly all the way in like you're trying to push it to your backbone. And when you breathe deep, it triggers a relaxation period in your body, so your body wants to relax at that point. So you want to be breathing deeply, breathing slowly, bringing yourself down into that point, and then, because it's a polite thing to do, you always ask Divine God Source Energy to guide you and to send you Archangel Michael so that you can start to build a relationship with him as well. Then you can invite Archangel Michael to you. And you can feel it through your telepathic channels, which is right behind your ear on both sides. Sometimes you'll feel pressure in your third eye area, or you might feel it in your throat, the throat chakra, because that's the energy that he brings forward. Now, what I like to do, because Archangel Michael is associated with the fire element, I will take a red candle if I'm inside, or if I'm outside and have a fire pit. Super awesome. You build a small fire, you light the candle, you do your breathing, you say your prayer, and then quietly in your mind, which is out through your telepathic channels really, or you can say his name out loud, just repeat Archangel Michael 3, 7, or 12 times, and just allow yourself to have the experience of coming in. Stare into the flame on the candle, look into the flames in the fire. They are so soothing and so relaxing, you'll actually start to fall into a meditative state just by staring at the flames. And as you do that, you can become aware, saying the name Michael, thinking about Michael. You're putting out that energy frequency of I want to introduce Archangel Michael to myself and me to him. You can bring him in that way, and then if he comes, that's awesome. Talk to him like you're talking to me, introduce yourself like you're introducing yourself to a new friend. If it doesn't happen the first time, that's fine. And to start with, I recommend not practicing this type of a meditation for more than 10 minutes. And when you're done, always journal your experience. Even if nothing happened, put pen to paper. I'm old school, like I said, I don't like digital journaling if I can avoid it. But pen to paper allows you to trigger that mental state of what did I experience in this? And it may be I just breathed for 10 minutes, I felt really calm, and I didn't sense anything. Fine. Do it again tomorrow. And if you can do it at the same time, works best. It's a mental thing it triggers in our human computer brain. But do it daily, and you do it for a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks if you can. Eventually you're going to have that experience where you're going to feel the pressure, you're going to feel that blue energy engulfing you, staring into the flames. You might actually see Michael in the flames, and when that happens, it's because you've shifted your views from here to here, because your third eye is going to recognize that energy way faster than your physical eyes. You might be hearing a message from Michael, you might be getting an impression, an image directly into your mind. It all depends on what you are comfortable with. Some people, like for me, I first was getting impressions. It wouldn't be like a significant thought form. It would be like an impression, like I'd see a house, or I'd see a park, or I'd see a candle, or something like that that was not something I was thinking about normally, but it would just pop in there and be like, what's that mean? And I write all this stuff down, and now I'm to a point, because I've been practicing and I've built a relationship, that I can actually hear them when I need help, I need something to talk about. I can just reach out and they will be able to communicate with me, generally in words, although sometimes it's like the term download, that just like push energy into my head. It's a message, and it will give me the entire outline of whatever I'm working on. And it has to come through in bits and pieces, but they give me the whole answer all at one time. I just can't comprehend it because it's that broad of a range type of a thing. And these are just different ways you can work with Archangel Michael. There's not one of them that's better than the other. If you're new to it and you really do want to try to build these connections with the angels, this is how I would go about it, is finding a place outside, preferably. If you can't be outside, get some red candles and light one and practice with that 10 minutes a day. Journal your experiences. Sometimes you'll be writing things down and your subconscious mind picked up on something that your conscious mind didn't. And when you're writing that down, all of a sudden it's going to show up on the paper, but it wasn't an awareness that you had in a conscious state. The angels work with you in a lot of different ways, and they're going to work with you in a way that is personal for you to work with. So, if this is something that resonates with you guys, like and subscribe, leave a comment below if you would like to see an expansion on these type of warp practices. I will be doing the introductions to the angels. That's just something I want to do. But if you want expanded information about them, maybe even some guided meditation type work, leave it in the comments and I will work on that. And on that note, I think that's everything for an introduction to Archangel Michael. I thank you for being here today, and I will talk to you guys in a future video.